Let me lower the music.
My hair's all crazy.
It's like very cinematic music today. It was like yoga music or Zen.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. What is it? Is it
Wednesday.
Thursday? Oh,
No.
I'm getting ahead of the...
Yeah, Wednesday the 12th. Happy Hump Day for those who celebrate. We are here today in a few to talk about SSL, WordPress security, go through a couple examples, and we have some tips to secure your website, especially WordPress, but also pretty much anything that's server-based, PHP mostly. And, well, the rest will be a surprise. We don't have to go over an agenda.
Well,
right?
we didn't go over what National Day is today.
That's right. I can, let me bring it up.
Let's see what's going on.
Jamie, bring it up.
That's what I'm supposed to say.
Oh,
Jamie, pull up the national news.
let's see. We have peanut butter cookie. This is my favorite cookie.
Wait, we're seeing something else.
Oh.
Default page.
Share this tab instead. How about that? National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. The best cookies.
Oh,
National.
yeah. Actually, we made those before.
Yeah.
Those are really easy to make. There's like 2 ingredients: peanut butter and sugar.
Yeah. So good. Jerky Day, which is a great food. I don't eat it as much anymore because it's so, packed with sodium and unhealthy, but it's still really good. National Loving Day. I love my wife. And National Red Rose Day. I give her a red rose like we're on The Bachelor. You are my, what do they say? You are my choice.
Oh, thank you. You're
my constant, as Desmond said in Lost. Yeah, I don't know if any of these relate to. You should love your site. National Loving Day.
Yes, you should definitely show your website some love. Give it some attention. Make sure that it's updated to today's times.
Yeah, give us some TLC.
Loving your website day. Maybe that is the event that we should create.
How about, that's
your website day.
I was going to say one that was really kind of not that good. TLC for your SSL. It's not. That's why I'm not involved. I'm not in charge of marketing. Everything will be weird. All right, let's get the ball rolling. Do you have anything to start with before we jump into topics?
No, we just really want to go over some best practices when it comes to securing we're specifically talking about WordPress here. Security is such a big area to talk about, and there's a lot to it. We're really just doing an overview, intro level security, just baseline, because there's a lot of things you can do to secure your site on a very advanced level. But today we're just going to go over basics. So we can jump into just what does it mean to have a secure site, SSL.
Yep. All right, let me, I'm just going to share the whole window over here. No. There we go. So I was going through, I set up a local WordPress site just so we can go through what we're talking about, So as a developer, one of the first things you should do when you set up a site is, or especially not just set it up locally, it doesn't really matter because nobody can access your local environment. But once you push it to production, it's open to the world, So one of the first things you do once you're live, or even maybe before on staging, is set up. We like to set up a program called WordFence, a plugin. WordFence is a paid plugin. You can upgrade, but it comes along with pretty much everything that you need free. It has a I would have to do this install. Really, it asks you for, do you wanna pay per month? And if you do pay, you can get latest bot and, malware information. If you don't pay, I think it's 30 days behind. But what this does is protects your site from people trying to log in and guessing the password. It protects your site from malware bots that come, DDoS attacks to a point. That's where multiple bots hit your site to bring it down. Really, it helps with scanning. So if you have something on your site like a malware or hack, this will tell you this file is wrong. Something's wrong with this file. Do you want to replace it? Is it a file that's custom? Then you have to do that yourself. That's what we usually do. It's part of our web development services is malware removal and hacks. Most of the time, it's able to be taken back to where it was, especially if backups exist. But if backups don't exist, there usually is a way unless the database was infected. Anyway, WordPress is the plugin that we usually use. You want to talk about anything?
Yeah, so you're able to get the free version. They give you this code here. It sends an email to your email that you put in, and then you just confirm it, and you can use basic level support, which includes a scanner, setting up like the firewall with the basic settings, and at least you'll be somewhat protected. So it is something that you can get the baseline support starting off. And there's been instances that we've had where we've used that and we're able to scan and it does pick up malware. And sometimes it can remove it right there, even with just the free version. If it's a more advanced type of malware that requires more cleaning and sorting through the entire site, you're going to need a developer to go in there, someone to do it. But as a baseline starting off to just make sure your site is protected, this is a great plugin to use that has been successful to a point to even just identifying that there is malware.
Yeah, I feel like it's a plugin that's been around for a while too, and it's trusted. I trust it, which is unusual. I don't trust many plugins. This is one that I do trust. There's a firewall that learns after, I think it's 60 days, where it kind of says, well, how much traffic does this site get? Where are the bots coming from? And then it adapts the configuration at the end of the 30 or 60 days to like be custom to your site, and the rules of what it does is custom to your site. It's a great plugin. I've never done the premium. I feel no need for it yet, unless there's going to be a client that really is in an industry that does get hacked a lot or attacked.
Attacked, yeah. And they do send you alerts through your email.
That's right.
So you'll get alerts of certain areas that are being blocked. It will tell you what IP addresses are being blocked and vulnerabilities as well. So
Yeah, you get an email and it'll say such and such plugin is has a security patch. We suggest that you update it, and it even gives the reason, like because logins. So just to go back, I was going to start by saying WordPress sometimes gets a bad rep, and people say that's the most unsecure. But as a comeback, everything is unsecure if it's configured incorrectly. It really is, and the experience I've had on WordPress over literally I've been working with it for 15, maybe 6 or longer, but more seriously over the last 10, like 7 to 10 years. There's no other systems get hacked just as much. Drupal, maybe not. We're not talking about Wix and Squarespace because those are hosted and they only give you, which is a double-edged sword. They only give you access to a certain amount of code, so a hacker can't hack something that's already locked down. So those are a little different. But when you're talking about your own systems, your own website hosted, WordPress is probably the most secure that I've touched, that I've seen that doesn't get hacked. And obviously it will, and it can get hacked if you're installing the wrong plugins, the themes, and you're just going crazy willy-nilly and adding whatever. So then that's, of course, is going to open the door to malware. But if you're judging what you're installing and you're using a trusted whatever source or developer, then losing my voice. Then it's not like, all right.
So another thing I want to add here is, I mean, with WordPress, it definitely could get hacked, but it really depends on the maintenance of the website too. If you're not updating your plugins, that leaves it open for vulnerabilities for hackers to plug into a specific plugin and put some code in there that will compromise your site. So anything like that, it can be and is hacked, but if you do these basic protections, then you're securing your site. Just like, I mean, you kind of can relate it to like a house, right? We have a house. If you leave your door open, you know, eventually, hopefully nobody goes in, but there's some crazy people out there, so you never know. If you
Yeah.
leave something out there open, it can be compromised.
But to
So
add on to your metaphor, depending on where you live, you can leave your door open, but some places you can't leave your door open, such as GoDaddy. If your house is on GoDaddy, it's like living in the streets. So
yeah.
I'm trying to think. Well, Providence, Rhode Island, from where I come from, but like the city, you can't leave your door open over there. That's like being on GoDaddy. Sorry, GoDaddy.
Yeah.
We just roast GoDaddy every
Every
live.
chance we get.
Yeah. Speaking of unsecure, it's funny because I was gonna go through the salt, changing the salt keys. There's a couple of things you can do if your site's hacked. So I guess
Well, talk about what salts are, so people.
yeah,
I don't think anyone really knows.
yeah. Well, even before that, if your site is hacked, there are tips you could do. We're gonna go over those now. But a salt key is pretty much a key that tells a cookie who you are. So all of WordPress, like especially on the admin side, is based on this key that says this browser and this user, more specifically, has access to the site. They are accessing the site right now. And what salt keys do is say that this is the current session. So without getting too technical, I guess, a salt key can be changed. So pretty much the first thing we do when we do get malware requests or hacks on the site, I won't install WP File Manager. That's what this plugin is right here, but we will get access to FTP. This is just an example to show without having to switch back and forth to FileZilla or some kind of FTP manager. But a file manager, whether it's FTP or a plugin, will let you access the files. And this is a great place to clear malware if there is any malware, like extra files or even code that's inside of files. Usually that's where hacks are. But in terms of salt keys, looks like a mess. But pretty much right here is your salt keys. I think if I open it up more, this screen doesn't open it up more, but it looks a little neater when it's not in a small screen. Kind of looks chaotic here. Salt keys can be changed using a website that offers secret keys. So really, I got there by Googling salt key generator, which I spelled wrong, and I clicked WordPress.org salt generator. And every time you refresh the page, you'll see here these salt keys, which are like passwords per feature change. And what you do is select it all, copy it, and paste it right where the other ones were. And that itself, I don't think I pasted it right, will log anybody out that's already logged in, which is a great feature, especially if you have a hack that a user is actually in the post or inside of your website. And you would save. Another thing we usually do for this type of situation is in wherever the database is. So PHP MyAdmin, we'll go and change the password. We always go through password changes for PHP MyAdmin, the database itself, and that's what we would also update inside of this configuration file, which is right over here. Right now on the local, so don't copy my password. It's root and root. It's very secure. It's not my password for everything. Excuse me. Drink some water.
So for the salts, another thing, this might look a little daunting to you if you're not familiar with WP File Manager, but there are plugins out there that does exactly this automatically. So you would add that plugin. I think it's called Salts. if you click onto plugins, um, just to show how to find it, you would just type in salt, and there's plugins that will do this. It's Salt Shaker is what it's
Oh,
called.
see, I didn't know this one either.
And this is one that I've used in the past when there was a situation where there was a high, there was some malware and things needed to be super like refreshed because we didn't know where it was compromised. This was something that we were doing for the site, and this will automatically update exactly what Tony just showed automatically and you can set a time frame. So you can, if you install it, right, um, you can set a time frame. How often do you want to replace the salt?
Okay. Oh yeah.
So here is where you can say you can do it daily. That's pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Weekly, monthly, I think is the thing. And then so that can be just at the basic levels of using it without a paid version. You'll be able to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know it
So it's
existed.
a good tool. It's worked well for some of the clients that I've used it on.
Yeah, and like I said, like what that salt does is take away the cookie of the user that's logged in that's connected to the database. So if you declare it, you're gonna log yourself out. So that's what it says here. So if you did do it daily, then every day if you go to your site every day, like I do, you don't have to log in every time and it's not gonna save your browser
Yeah,
cookie,
it's gonna force log out everyone every single day.
which is
So
helpful. It depends on how you use your site really. That if this is But yeah, I can see definitely the monthly being really helpful. Nobody should be logged every month. You should change your passwords.
so
Tony.
so this is a do-it-yourself type of thing. So let's say you don't want to go into the code and the file manager and you're maintaining your site by yourself. This is what you can implement to kind of put an extra layer of security on your website.
Yeah, and to go also further back, this WP file manager, I do not suggest it. Every time it's on a site, I will delete it. I'm only using it for an example. Because it's
It is.
there's always security patches because you're accessing actual files, so you got to of course be aware of what users you have on your site and their roles, and they can access every file, something in there and you'll never see it. Or just the plugin in general, I feel like there's always security patches for it because they update WordPress and then it's like a catch up game, and these file manager has to catch up with the latest updates and so on and so forth. So I don't keep it on a site. I don't like it.
So I think another thing to talk about is best practices when it comes to users. So on the left-hand side, users, this is where you'll see what is going on today. Is it the pollen
There's the
level?
allergies or
It's like we can't talk.
on the site. Let's just mute and cough our way through this. Hold on a sec. Be right back.
It's like the pollen levels are extra high today. I'm not sure, but or maybe it's us talking every day.
Hopefully it's not carbon monoxide poisoning. You just see us both fall to the ground. Call
We
911 at
just
that.
pass out on live. Somebody
We
save us. No.
made it to day
Um,
9. 911. That's me dying of. Anyways.
Okay, so for the users, this is where it will show all the roles, and this is just the demo thing. So you're not going to see anything but administrator, but there's different levels that you can have. Administrator, which is total rights, make any changes anywhere on the site, subscriber, editor, author, and best practices. You shouldn't have more than two. I would say admins, ideally it'd be one, but that's really not something that usually there's more than one
Yeah.
admin, like maybe two or something.
Just add admin. There's another plugin. Again, we're not plugin people, but there are helpful plugins if there's situations that arise. Like there's one that will add different roles. So you can have an admin and you can have like a sub admin, which doesn't have access to delete the site or add users. There's levels of things. So an admin itself is like the God user that can do anything. But you can create new roles that say, well, this person, they're important, but they're not that important to delete the site, you know? So there are ways to, and you can do it in the code. You don't need the plugin. You can actually set it in the functions file or however the developers do sites. But yeah, you should always also have like a user. If you have a site that is used and edited and authored and contributed by people, you should have some sort of audit going on to make sure that one, there's no users you don't know. Two, there's no users you don't know. Like there's you gotta
Well,
look
the,
at these.
and people leave, right? So making sure to audit it and make sure you remove people off the site. Like there's been plenty of times where that is forgotten amongst a lot of businesses where they leave a developer who's no longer with the company or anybody still on the site with their access information. And not to say that they would do anything, but if their computer was compromised, anybody can get in there and have access to the site. So making sure that you do a regular audit of who the users are and to remove people who are no longer with your company.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, some sites have so many users, and you're like, oh, we jump into them, and there's 40 admins. So, well, they used to work here, but then they're just, those the passwords could be compromised already. It could have been in one pass, which is always compromised. All these password vaults.
Yeah, one pass is something that I know a lot of businesses use and it seems so efficient. Like, oh, put all your passwords in this one place, and you'll have access to it. But really, I mean, from a security standpoint, one pass has not one pass. What is it called? One
That's
pass?
one of them. There's one pass. There's
Which one am I thinking of? The
uh
the one. It's a popular one.
I'm looking it up. LastPass. Yeah.
LastPass, yes. So
Oh, yeah.
LastPass is one that's notorious for the go-to, but it's been compromised so many
Multiple.
times, and that's like one shot, and then all your passwords are compromised. So we don't do that. Tony's never done it. I did do it at one point when I was working with another company, and then I got away with it because I was like, this is really like dangerous to do something like this. And I know it's a company or whatever, but
Yeah.
you should not put your stuff in all that.
Yeah, now there's the browser. I personally think the browser is safer, Chrome, as long
Yeah.
as that master password is safe, and Safari has its own key system, and I'm sure the other ones do too. But I would personally stay away from all those password things. I don't use the LastPass password generator because I'm afraid that it's like storing
It's
it.
stored somewhere.
It knows where I'm going and stuff.
I might use it and change like the last 5 characters at the end. I'll be like,
You
oh, that's a
won't
good
know.
idea. I'll just change these.
LastPass won't know.
So
Yeah. What other things do we do for security? I mean, there's also the server side, which is, of course, the most important, really. If you're going to be on a server that is $1 a year and some basement, then if you're opening the door to whatever, the more secure the server, it doesn't have to be crazy secure, especially if you're not running a user base kind of like e-commerce system where you're storing credit cards or at least capturing them. The more you do in terms of using user data, the more secure the server should be, obviously. But what was my point? Oh yeah, there's like the header rules and stuff that you can add
yeah, that's like that can be its own
thing.
subject to dive into, but doing specific header rules that you can apply to a server is another way to add another level of security. And depending on where your server is, like I know Cloudflare has a specific place where you would add in these header sets protection and will provide that security for the server. So this will require you putting code on the server level to secure the headers. And usually it's done by a developer. We've done it for sites, and there's a tool that you can test if your headers are secure.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I've used the tool before. Let's see if I can.
I think it's securityheaders.com.
Is it?
No? Yeah. Well, this is one of them.
Let's see. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it gives you the score.
Is she gonna make the bus?
Uh-oh. Go Faith. Yeah, I think she.
Let's
Really.
see. 30 headers.
Let's close this National Day. Peanut butter cookies. Yeah, I think the pollen level is high today. I'm not even a person that gets allergies.
Yeah, it's been out of control this entire week. So I'm trying to look at that exact tool that I use because I found it really helpful. I think I wrote an article about it on LinkedIn about securing your
Securityheaders.com. It says scan your site now, and it has like a score. Remember, like A to D.
Yes,
Yeah, this
yes.
is it right here. Let's do TaylorSwift.com.
Oh,
Whoa.
F. Yeah, so she would benefit from adding that layer of security on the site. I'm
Yeah.
sure all of those ones that we looked at, theme, framework,
Ouch, it says.
if it's failing page speed, it's probably also failing security headers. That's
Taylor,
my
what is
guess, I
going
guess.
on, Taylor Swift? She's letting everything just fall apart. She really followed through and keep
Well,
her
I don't think
website.
it's her fault. I mean,
She's the webmaster.
Hmm.
Yeah,
so
so
this is a tool that you can go to test your site security headers.
Yep.
And it's going to tell you what it's missing and also recommendations. And this is something that you can check if you are working with the developer saying, hey, I want to work on creating a more secure site. This is what's missing and having that implemented, and something we also offer and do.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm not going to go over these, but pretty much they're rules for the server to say, like, this one says it has to be HTTPS in order to view the site. This is saying somebody can't frame your site onto their site, and pretty much that's what, like, phishing. Different type of content types that are allowed to be sent to the site. Refer, so where they're coming from. What is this one? Do have site information? It includes navigation away.
And we also include this in any website audits that we do. We'll scan the website and see where it lays with the actual missing headers.
Yeah, this one is it doesn't really matter. It's saying that when you go to a new site, tell that new site where you came from. You can turn that off and on. I think off is the most secure, right? Unless you want them to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are a lot of part of the rules that we set up to really lock down a site, unlike Taylor Swift's site. All those rules for, I mean, when I do it, I go in the htaccess file. There's no web browser.
Let's check the NASA site.
NASA. What is it? NASA.gov.
Yeah, they're also a WordPress site and even the White House. I'm just curious.
Security. What is that? Headers.
NASA.gov.
Let's see. D. Strict. They have one thing turned on. We should contact them.
And then do the White House.
White House.gov. I think that's it. Oh, look at that. They got an A. Permissions policy.
Oh.
Control which features are used in the browser. Let's go hack them using this header.
Let's
Yeah, I heard. Do they use the block theme?
what, the White House?
Yeah, I mean they have a White House.
So if security should be everyone's priority. This is
Absolutely.
a place
Mhm.
that you can go to see where your site, measures up and work on getting that updated to be more secure.
Yep. Yeah, A is great, F is not.
Yeah.
It's like school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, an example, that's what I had pulled up earlier, this weird Ubuntu default page, but when you don't have a secure site, first of all, Google forget about it now, right? Didn't they change the rules where they're not even indexing any non-secure sites? Um,
Yes,
but
yeah.
you'll see this not secure up here, and it'll even if it's really not secure, like this one has mixed content, which means some of it is, some of it's not. But sometimes you'll see a whole message that's a red screen, usually on Chrome, and it says, "Are you sure you want to visit the site? Hackers might be trying to steal your data." I think that's the exact sentence because I've seen it so many times. And you say yes, continue, which you shouldn't, unless you're testing and it has to do with development, which is usually my case. I don't have SSL and everything that's local, but yeah, you'll see this icon. Google doesn't care about it as much, obviously. So, and most of these services that we deal with do free SSL using Let's Encrypt, which is a free SSL. It's not the most secure, I would say, but it does the job 99.9% of the time when you're dealing with normal sites, even e-commerce sites. I trust it with, and it has to be renewed every 90 days, but it usually does it automatically.
Yeah, and some things that could happen, your site can be secure, but there can be, like Tony said, there could be things that aren't. There could be images, which file is HTTP and can cause things to break on the front end. So I've had situations where an image will be broken and to find out that isn't being shown because it's under HTTP instead of HTTPS.
Yeah.
And that has to do with just making sure that your images also reflect HTTPS, and a way you can do that is to check with this helpful plugin, Better Search and Replace, and you can view how many images are actually displayed as HTTP by doing something like this. You can do a dry run, so you don't make any changes off the bat, but you're able to scan the site and see how many are actually showing. So if there were any, it would show there are 7 cells found that need to be updated, and then you can update those images. It
Yep.
will even tell you where they are, and you can also, make sure you enter in the correct, take it from HTTP to HTTPS, and it will replace it for you.
Yeah.
You gotta be really, careful
Really.
about using this tool because you could really mess up your entire site by just, like, any type of character mistake here. So I would suggest doing a backup if you're gonna use this plugin beforehand.
Yeah, even that would mess it up. That one little, or sometimes it's a space you don't even see it, and it adds a space. So you're pretty much saying, "Hey, go to the database and look for this string, this text or whatever you want to call it, but it's called a string." And it says, "Did you find it? Replace it with this," and wherever it is. So at the beginning of a string, the beginning of a database table, at the end, in the middle, it's going to replace it. So if you have a space that you don't even see here, or a forward slash in this case, or any mistakes,
Or you misspell by
yeah,
accident,
it's gonna
and
do it. It's gonna
it's
do what we said. Obviously, it's not smart. It just does what it says. This is also a dangerous plugin that I will install sometimes, especially when I push sites live, to make sure that everything's replaced in terms of local domain and HTTP to HTTPS, and then I deactivate it like such.
Yeah, it's a great helpful tool, but you don't need to keep it on your site on an ongoing basis, and you
And
use it, and then you just deactivate it, so
yeah,
it doesn't take up resources too.
best practice is to delete anything you're not using, even if you're like, "Oh, I wanna maybe open it back up and just delete it." 'Cause as f up until a couple years ago, I was totally, oblivious to the fact that even if you have plugins on the site that aren't activated, they're still there's still
Can be
space.
compromised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it still could be compromised and still access to your site via those plugins, and it slows down the site. And I think usually that's because these configurations are still in the database, and whether there's relational, that's where relation of one database to another, whether that's the factor or what.
And malware can infect a plugin that is not active. And we've seen it where we're looking as we're doing cleanup and, oh, it's this plugin, but it's not even active. It can't be it. It's not activated.
Yeah, or
It
being
very much is it. And it is the culprit of the malware. So, you
culprit.
know,
Good word.
when we talked about production, so this is a live environment, but one thing to also talk about is staging environment. A lot of the times people have a staging environment and they don't maintenance it, and it does require maintenance. It requires the same level of maintenance as a live site does, and it can be compromised just like a live site. So making sure you update the plugins, making sure that you can take a live copy of your production site and push it down so you don't have to duplicate both environments. You just copy it and then apply it to staging. So you always have the most recent copy.
Yeah.
Do maintenance on your live site and then you pull it down to staging and then
The other way, usually do the maintenance on the staging and push it to the live site.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should overall best practice.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about if you've forgotten about your staging environment. So, because a lot of people have forgotten about their staging environment. So you don't want to push it to your production if it's an old copy and you've been making changes. Because a lot of our clients and a couple ones that I can think of, the staging's in the background and is forgotten. And there's everyday operations of blog and content writing. So that's why the example was that. But if you are actively using your staging, then best practice is to do everything on staging first and make sure the updates update properly before pushing it live.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, it can go either way. One thing about staging is it can, if you don't set it up right or configure it, it can be indexed. So to even go one step over keeping it up to date, there's also HTTPS or some kind of security that goes above the site. So you can't even access the site as well bots can access the site and like spiders stuff. It'll say enter a username and password even before you get to the site. So there's plugins for that too, but you can also just create a file called .htpass with a username and a password that will prevent unauthorized users. Staging. Really good.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where people tend to, depending on how you use it, usually staging for us is used if we're doing any updates that we don't want to reflect on the live site quite yet. It requires levels of approval. Also for testing, a lot of our clients, if we're testing anything new, we want to make sure that that's done on the staging environment. And best practice is always to do a content freeze before we push it live. So you're not doing both, right? You're not updating staging and live at the same time.
Yeah. Content freezes. It's nothing worse than losing content after like a production launch. It doesn't happen anymore, but in the beginning of development or any sort of tech, you make those mistakes and you learn from the mistakes. And I'm always saying, did you take a backup? You got to take, even if you think that, not for the smallest changes, but if the change sounds like it could be dangerous, I always take some sort of backup, whether it's all-in-one migration or actual export of the database and the files and compressed. Always have something to roll back to, because once it's gone, sometimes if you don't have backups, it's gone. We'll close that, open this back up. Where are we at? Now your WordPress site is secure. Do you have some tips to the trade?
Yeah, so just thinking about everything we went over today, making sure your SSL doing your due diligence, looking to see if everything on your site is HTTPS, and if it's not, then that would be like a call to action to be or an action item to get that fixed. Making sure you have some type of security plugin. I know there's other tools out there, like if you have SiteGround, they have a scanner that they do proactively, or you can go in there and actually scan if you see there's a compromise there, and it's usually flagged. And what else?
That we went over.
Yeah.
We went over the malware, how to lock your site down.
The
Yeah.
salts plugin.
Yeah, we can say just to the malware, you can contact us if your site has been hacked. We're pretty fast with that kind of stuff. Turnaround time, if it's an emergency, just you can go to our website, our number's right there. You can even text. We're modern like that. Like our site's broken, and we'll back and forth until we get in there and fix it. So it's not a lost cause if sites get hacked. Like I said before, I don't know what the percentage is. I would say like 80 to 90 though percent of the time you can roll back or get it at least back and find where the malware is and remove it without having to redo the site or anything like that. We've seen some crazy ones, remember?
Yes,
We were
I
very
remember.
oh my god, I ever opened up a site and just my coworker would be like, "What is that?" I'm like, "That the site was hacked, I guess." So you gotta protect it, or people will come in there and put their own whatever
Redirect you to somewhere
propaganda.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep your site secure. We keep our sites secure. We don't get our sites hacked at all. I've never had with, especially over the last like 6 years, there hasn't been a client that I've had, and our sites don't get hacked at all. So, I mean, knock on wood, probably gonna get hacked today. Every site we've ever done too. Karma. Karma
Yeah,
is a bitch,
sometimes it's
man.
really out of our control depending on, how many people are on the site and things like that, in the sense of it's we provide the tools, and we also if there's maintenance, we will do our maintenance. But just like with anything, if there's someone who isn't following best practices on your team and compromises, there's only it happens, is what I'm saying. It could happen,
Yeah.
but there's a way to fix it and try to prevent it from happening in the future.
Yeah. It happens. I like it. That would be a good slogan. Probably already is for an IT
It
support.
does happen, so
It happens. I don't know. Or like, shh, it happens. I'm thinking of the slogan. Um, yeah. So I think they're up to date on WordPress security.
yeah, and I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions about security and your site, feel free to drop it in the comments or even just reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions. Yeah, so
talk about networking.
yeah, so nothing to do with web security.
Topic 2 or 3?
Huh?
Topic 2 or 3, I was gonna say.
Our random topic of
Yeah.
discussion here. So we're chamber members, and we're excited to be part of the chamber. And it's really been an interesting experience for us getting out there. We're also part of a BRG group, and that has been great. Just learning about other people's businesses and things that they struggle with and need help with, and being part of a network of people who are really all trying to like improve themselves and get clients and offer tips and things like that. So it's been a really interesting experience for us because this is it's been a bit over almost not even a year yet that we actually joined the chamber.
6
Was
months?
it just this year?
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
think it was like 4 to 5
So we
months.
started doing that, and then we're also doing lives now. So we're really trying to just communicate with our audience, see what we can help with, and kind of just talk about things that are happening. So
Yeah, I think I'm a coder, so going into the networking environment was a little bit of a struggle. It was uphill for me, but it improved the way I talk about, like, they have the whole 30-second pitch, which we should start our videos with 30-second pitches and just get more comfortable with doing it over and over, I guess, right? but talking to people about what we do, I love what I do, and I'm good at what I do, but talking about it has always been a struggle. So doing these live and networking in general is improving my communication skills with web development.
And I like this forum really because to me, sometimes having so much structure kind of takes away from that creativity and conversation and relating to people. So I'm kind of on the other side, like 30-second, like I'd rather just have a conversation, you know? So being able to frame it in any way we want and to be able to create that way and also teach and educate people is something that I really enjoy about having these two actual networking meetings and then also just networking online and just having conversations with people. So
Yeah, it's more natural. I think when it's so structured.
definitely
I saw one yesterday,
structured
a
thing.
WordPress one. They had like a whole Google Doc, kind of like when you go to a meeting, like online where the company you work for, and they have like an agenda. And they were not saying we kind of have agendas too, but it was a very dry like, and the way they were talking to each other. I won't name names. It was just very like.
Yeah, you're not gonna get that over here. We're kind of whatever comes to mind, random. We talk about things, but we also have an agenda, so we try to do both.
Yeah.
Kind of how we work together is we get it done, but we have fun doing it, and that's kind of what we're kind of showing.
Have fun doing it. That's a slogan for a new client
It is.
that we're working on. Yeah, they do.
Oh yes, yes.
They do they do hyperbaric mobile chambers. So they pretty much, if you have diabetes, you go into this chamber and they shoot oxygen into your blood. But their slogan is saving lives and having fun doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Let's move that down to the footer.
I mean, it's great that they're helping people,
And
and
having fun doing it.
yeah.
He
So
said it was more of an internal slogan, but what are you gonna do? A slogan's
let's
a
take
slogan.
their slogan.
Like,
We
making
don't have
websites
we don't
and
have a
having
slogan.
I mean, we've talked about a few, like, "Let's get digital," which I like. Um, it's a family thing, right? Um, I
I don't
have
know
some
what
that
that
I
was.
can't say now. They're, um,
Don't do it. I
like that meme where he can't stop. He's like, I gotta say it." I don't know the other ones. I love "Let's Get Digital," though. I don't know, because it's like three-tone digital. Let's get digital. Like, it's almost like someone saying, "Oh, let's get digital to help us with their" what digital what? Three-tone digital, of course. I come out with the jingle.
All right, I gotta take this in now. No, so
To
I'm
TMI,
reeling this
TMI.
in, guys. Uh, no, so
Hmm.
the thing that we didn't really talk about, like Tony and I, we are designers, developers, but before this, uh, Tony and I met at a marketing agency, but my background was just marketing. And I started out in this world, in this world. I said on this world. No, I started out in the career life in a marketing department, sales and marketing, and then have experience doing email marketing. Tony has experience creating email marketing templates and being part of a marketing. So we have that unique experience that we're able to relate in that way where there are developers out there that they just develop and that's great. They just code and that's great. But it's great to understand like the connection because there is a connection between marketing and your
Hmm.
digital presence and being able to connect those two is super important. So we have kind of weird experience with all different types of tools and platforms because of our past. So that's just something to know that it is good if you're looking for a web developer or your team to have that cross training in the sense because it will interact. It will be, we need to know how to use a different platform, a CRM, how to integrate, have that data flow into something else and make those connections. And it doesn't hurt to get that training from your technical person.
Yeah. We've gotten so much real world from working at marketing agencies that deal with different types of websites and industries, and like every sort of vertical has come in front of us, whether it's technical wise or creative wise, and like more. I'm more left brain, technical. Rena is more. Is it the other way around? Is left brain the creative one? I'm
I
more
would
technical.
think that I'm thinking like left-handed people
Oh, no,
are
no.
more creative. So I don't know. We have to
Right
look it
brain
up.
versus
I'm
right
not
brain.
sure.
Left brain, yeah, left brain is analytical, right brain. So you're more right-brained, creative, and artsy. I'm more analytical and logical. So, like, our experience at these,
Mhm.
marketing agencies has really made us who we are today, you know, I think. So we took the best things that from marketing agencies, we're like, "We can do this," and we see how it works, you know, people go to marketing agencies, you're paying for 20, 30, however many people. No offense to marketing agencies, everybody has a role there, but if you're able to do a bunch of roles and good as technical people and marketing people, then why not, you know? So instead of paying for 20 people, you're paying for 2 people, me and Raina, and, you know, like, that connection between us as well, but the connection between the digital tech stuff and the creative, that's all you kinda really need. I think especially online, like, they'll make it a lot of people will make it more, you know, you need this, a content writer, there's a lot of tools out there now. You need a custom person that does flyers, and there's a lot of tools out there now. I said that twice. I'm on repeat.
Canva
Canva does a lot of
Canva's a great tool. If you guys haven't used it, it can do it pretty much any design type basic level without Photoshop. And with the pro version, it's even better. Like you can have access to um, those basic editing, removing of the background, creating SVGs. You can even create a style branding right there in a specific team. So you can set up a team and anyone can go in there and see, okay, these are the brand styles. So that's where it really, when we covered another tool, Canva's a great one to cover, but any small businesses or even medium-sized businesses, if you're in the creative Canva, you don't have experience with Photoshop, it is a very user-friendly tool.
Yeah. I like Figma better. I'm a Figma person, but
Figma is awesome. I'm a Figma person
yeah,
too, but for like quick,
I
um, I'm Figma for web
Canva is
design.
cool because you can do it on I mean, Figma too, but both of these tools you can use online. You don't need the app. So Canva, you can log in, do all this photo editing, most of it for free until you get to things that are a little bit beyond. Same thing with Figma, has an online, version, has an app, and you can do a lot with a low monthly subscription or no subscription at all, you know?
Mhm.
But saying, like, we take, hey, let's switch this around. Now you're in front. Um, we took the best things, I believe, from the marketing agencies that we worked together at and the marketing agencies or even companies we worked at in the past and said, "This is possible between 2 people," and that's what we're doing. So, pretty much anything a marketing agency can do, we can do. And if we don't know, we know people. We know a guy over there that we can trust, and because we know how to talk to those guys over there that do SSL, well, not SSL, I'm talking like PPC campaigns, you know, bigger things.
What's with the accent?
That's how I know a guy over there. I was talking about my Rhode Island accent the other day too. I was gonna bring back my Rhode Island accent. It's something that kinda got stubbed. What was that called? Stubbed in California, willingly and subconsciously, but then when I came back, um, it's trying to come back out. Not just Rhode Island, but New
I
York.
haven't heard you say the word wicked.
I say oh, today or just in general?
You
I say
have stopped saying that.
I know, because I stopped because then it sounds corny, like I'm trying to say it to be a Rhode Islander. I know
Let's
some Boston, but us Rhode Islanders only have what we have. We're a small state. But even New York, like, when they come on with the news and they're like, "Hey, we are over here." Remember
We're in New York. Let's not
oh,
hate
yeah.
on our New Yorkers.
"We're over here." But I was just saying I lost my East Coast accent over there in California, and it tries to come back. It definitely comes back when I'm not trying for it to come back, you know? Riva or I don't know. I said something the other day and Lennon's like, "What?" Our son's like, what does that word mean?" Or like, "That's a bubbler instead of a water fountain."
Bubbler. Bubbler.
Enough of that. Where are we at?
Well, I think we're wrapping it up right
Yeah,
now.
we almost got to an hour.
It's been
What is it, day 9?
it is day 9 of going live.
Nice.
Just kind of it's been 9 days that we've gone live, even on the weekends, just to, if anyone's thinking about doing these lives, to talk about what you do and skills, and just to give a quick, what we're noticing is that we are getting more interactions on certain channels, but we are also going live on multiple channels. So YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and we go live using a tool called StreamYard. Highly recommend it if anyone wants to check it out. It's a great tool, and we have seen an increase in interactions with people that we normally don't have talked to since we've been going live, and we've just been doing it for 9 days. And even new possible leads coming through for mostly LinkedIn. I haven't gotten anything in Twitter, but so it's interesting to see, just talking more about what we do and getting out there and talking about hot topics and things like that, to see how we can kind of drum up. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's starting slow, obviously, but I've seen an increase in the algorithm just in terms of our business pages, which is highly unusual when you have a business page, especially for web. It's like, okay, there's only so much you could do, but now I've actually seen a few people reshare. I've seen obviously impressions, which they don't matter that much, but my experience with this live stream in day 9 has also been positive, where I'm seeing more people contact or at least be more open to connecting in certain ways, whatever it is, like just commenting or trusting you for feedback, because they can see, I think they can see that you know what you're talking about, you know. So I think that's the benefit of it. Just show them who we are. We're showing you who we are. This is what we do on a daily basis, not live streams, but websites. And we talk about it to each other. Sometimes we'll talk about it over dinner. Busy water and cheese and olives. It's part of our life. And it's really, I love it. It's giving me the freedom, us the freedom to like be ourselves and do something that's positive for any company that improves their digital presence, improves our digital presence, and shows who we are. So all positive, all good vibes.
Yeah, we will continue on as just on day 9, just our assessment. We're going to continue on and see what happens from there. I think really the message today is to, as businesses, to really just embrace change, keeping your website or even your business in one static form is not something that is substantial for growth in the future. So making sure that any change that comes your way, if you find a way to really ride that wave and make it your own based on your business model, is important, and something that we always recommend and see that our clients, with the AI era of AI, where we're at right now, how could you use it to improve your business and use it as a tool? So those are things that we would encourage everyone to do to kind of just improve their website, and always be open to any new things, whether it works or not. At least you tried it. So
yeah, trying it, especially on staging first, if it's the website stuff. But trying everything changes. The Google SEO changes, technology changes, your algorithm changes. So you might as well change along with that too, because staying static is not an option.
Yeah.
That's our slogan. Nah, it's too long. And static has so many S's and
Yeah.
static. Let's get digital. So
Well,
tomorrow's gonna be our day 10. I think that we should have a little, maybe I could do the confetti thing. 10-day or real, we'll just get actual confetti or the money gun that we have. Be like day
don't do
10,
that. I don't think
make it
so.
rain. Raina?
No, 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 no.
Or not.
Let's not.
Okay. We won't
let's
do that.
let's say we did, but let's not do
We
it.
might. We might not. All right. Should we end this out? Go back to our acoustic cinematic music.
Yeah, let's flow out. Let's rock out.
Oh, rock?
Mhm.
Okay, let's get some rock. Get it really loud too. Here we go.
Well, everyone have a great day. And we're almost Friday. See you tomorrow.